Okay, recording. Okay. Hello. Today we speak about programming software of timers and other parameters. Okay. Now I share the monitor. Okay. Okay. Share. Okay. You can see the software. Perfect. Okay. Now we start. Okay. Perfect. Okay. Now we go timers. Okay. Today we speak about timers. Okay. The panel, the X panel, the K panel work with a very, very easy system timer. Now I show you how it works. This is an important tab. Okay. It's possible to select. For each panel, there is 4 timers for each day. For each day, it's possible to have 4 different timers. In case you use 64 zone panel, the biggest panel, it's possible to have 8 timers for each day. How it works? It's very easy. It's possible to select this day, okay? And it's possible to set the hour, okay? For example, I select Sunday, I select timer 1, I set 8 in the morning, for example, okay? The second timer I set 12, okay? In Sunday. For example, now I change the day, Monday, okay? I can set, for example, 700 and, oh, sorry, I mistake, moment. Okay, okay, and I can select, for example, I can select here, for example, 11, another hour, okay? For example, if I select Sunday, I can see 8, 12, and for example, Monday, I have 7 and 11. This is the setting of the timer, okay? After the setting of the timer, it's possible to assign different action of the timer. Normally, the action regarding user, areas, and output. And it is important this, for example, I can select user number 1, for example, it's possible to enable, okay? In this case, timer number 1 at 8, okay? The user 1 is enabled. For example, I can, in the same timer, disable the user number 3. In this case, Sunday, timer 1 at 8, is possible to enable the user number 1 and disable the user number 3, okay? If I change timer, you can see change is possible, for example. Okay, for example, unassigned, you see the timer 1, okay, you can see here, the timer 1, user 1 is enabled and the user 3 is disabled. If I select the timer number 2, all unassigned, okay? For example, in this case, we return in Sunday timer 1. We can have the user, but in the same timer at 8 in the morning, it's possible, for example, okay? It's possible, for example, enable area number 1. And, for example, enable area number 2. In this case, it's possible to have at this hour, for the timer number 1, these 2 areas for arming at this hour, enable this user, and at the same time, disable this user. In the same time, it's possible, for example, enable one output, okay? For the output, it's important to know this. The function for work with the timer are this. Now I show you in the output. I select output, okay? I go in function, okay? And now I show you which function is possible to have for the timer, for example, okay? It's possible to have for the timer specific function, okay? That timer, okay? If you set the output with timer, okay, this output work with only the timer. Another function that work with the timer, okay, is multifunction. This, but the difference is if you use the output with the function timer, okay, will work only with the timer. If you set the output with the multifunction, this output will work with timer and with, for example, with the app, with the keypad, with the user code, etc. It's important to use the output with the this function for use the timer. Now we return in the timer, okay, and we can select the output, okay, for enable or disable. For example, it's possible to enable this output, for example, and disable this output, okay? In the same time, I remain always in the Sunday timer 1 at 8, okay? And in this hour, I can enable with the user, disable this, enable these two areas, for example, and enable out 1 and disable out 2. If I select the timer 2, number 2, okay, all this reset, and I can, for example, disable the user 1, for example, okay, and for example, disable these two areas. Remember, in the timer 1, enable, in the timer 2 is here, disable, and for example, disable this area, this output, okay. Look this. If I select the timer 1, enable, 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 and enable and disable. If I select number 2, okay, disable, disable this area, and in the same time, for example, I can enable this area, for example, okay? Check this area, this zone. If I change, enable, not assigned, or...
David, are these areas where it says number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, are those the different areas?
Yes, yes,
okay.
Yes. Without restriction, exactly.
Okay.
You can add all areas without restriction, like you want. Enable, disable without restriction. Exactly, correct,
okay.
Correct. Okay. Another important thing is that after that the timer is set for all days. In this case, I show only Sunday only for 2 timer, okay? It's possible to select all days. For all days, you have all different action. Another important thing about the timer regarding the output. Why this? Because, for example, I select, for example, Tuesday, okay? I select 1 hour, for example, 0800, for example, okay? In this case, I have Tuesday, timer number 1, 8. And I decide to enable this output, okay? It's possible to disable this output without timer, but in automatic. This is important, I want to show you a different disable, but I use this output, for example, the output number 4, okay? Enable output number 4, okay? I mean, Tuesday, timer 1 at 8, output number 4, but it's possible disable in automatic. In which way? I go in the outputs, I select the output number 4, for example, okay, I programming, for example, only for the timer, okay, timer function, but it's important this. The pulse length, okay, I modify the pulse length, for example, and I set, for example, 1 hour, okay? In this case, the output number 4 is timer, okay? I set always, work always, okay, without a restriction for the systems, okay. No delay, the polarity normal, but is important that in this case, sorry, this is 10 minutes. For example, I put another one here, okay. In this case, my output is 1 hour and 10 minutes duration. In this case, my timer start Tuesday at 8, enable this output, but the disable will be automatic at after 1 hour and 10 minutes. Okay, for example, it's possible to do one example. For example, I have the garden, for example, and one day per week I decided to start automatic irrigation. I mean automatic manage water, manage, etc. It's possible, for example, programming this every Tuesday at this hour or a different hour, start my output, that this output will work for 1 hour, okay, 1 week per day, and automatic after 1 hour of work, automatic stop, okay. Another important thing for the timer is this, the period. For all timer, we have 8 periods that work with the date. For example, for example, in August, okay, this August, okay, for example, day, months, remember it's important to day and months, okay, it's important, sorry, I mistake, okay, 1, 8, in this case, okay, for example, at the first day of August, day and month, okay, and for example, I stop 20 August, okay, in this case, for example, from the 1st of August and 20 of August, the period number 1, for example, for example, I return in Sunday, okay, this is my period, the period, these are the period. Now I show you, moment, okay. For example, I want to show period number 1 correspond at this period. If I set here and here, okay, in this case, when start the 1st of August, I mean start after midnight, okay, and here stop after midnight, this timer will not work, okay. In this case, for example, at 12, I select, for example, the timer number 2 at 12, the system disable this area, enable this area, okay, disable this user and disable this area, will stop for 20 days. Okay? If I decide to create another period, okay, for example, another period, you know that, for example, you know that in April, normally you go in vacation for 1 week, for example. It's possible to organize 10 of April and 15 of April, okay. Normally I go for vacation for 5 days. It's possible to set this 5 days, okay, and set this, the second period, and set here. Or, for example, it's possible to set only for the Tuesday. Remember the Tuesday for the output, okay. Possible to set Tuesday. This is my, and set this period, okay. Another important thing about the timer is that in the user menu, there is the possibility to enable or disable timer. I mean, if necessary, it's possible to use the standard period, but if is needed, it's possible to select in menu in the user menu with the final code user, with the user code, it's possible to set the code, okay, go in timer, and it's possible to, with 0, disable the timer, and with 1, re-enable the timer, okay? For example, the user, your customer work in a little store, okay? When he decided to go in vacation, he can arm manually the panel, for example, at 3 hour when he want, okay? Arm the panel, go in menu timer, set 0 the timer. In this case, the panel will be armed and not follow the timer. In this case, the person can go out or can go in vacation, and the system not follow the timer. Okay, when return after vacation, he go in the timer, re-enable the timer by setting 1. Okay, because 0 is disabled, 1 is enabled in keypad menu. Okay, and it's possible to restart the timer. Okay, this is the description of the timer. The timer is very easy to set. Okay, it's not complicated to set the timer. I want to show you another important feature, that is that alert time. Okay, this work in minutes. Okay, this alert time is only for the keypad. For example, your panel start automatic with the timer. For example, your panel start the arm at, for example, 5 p.m. Okay, you are working, okay, and you need one alert for the timer. Okay, it's possible to set, for example, 3 minutes before. Okay, in this case, 3 minutes, the keypad start with alert. Okay, that alert you that in 3 minutes start the timer. Okay, this is possible to use with alert before timing. Okay, or for example, another important thing is it's possible to have one output that show the alert of the start of the timer. Okay, this is only the alert for that alert you in that in 3 minutes start the timer. Okay, it's possible to set or nothing, 0, when the timer start, or it's possible to set 1 minute, 2 minutes, 5 minutes before the timer. Okay, why this? For example, I want to show you one very easy example. Okay, I select this day because it's empty. Okay, I decided to, for example, this day at, for example, I show you at okay, at 5 p.m. for example. Okay, at 5 p.m. for example, the area number 1, okay, enable. Okay, but okay, and I set 5 minutes of alert. Okay, or for example 2 minutes. Okay, now I set the timer number 2. Okay, the same day, but I select another timer where when I set, for example, 6 p.m. Okay, now when arrive this hour, okay, the system start 2 minutes before this. Okay, start the alert. Okay, for example, you have exit time, for example, 30 seconds. Okay, the panel alert you. It is possible that you go in keypad. Okay, when start the time, the exit time, you set your code and you disarm the panel. okay? Because you need, for example, stay 1 hour more in the office, for example, okay? The system stop, okay? But in automatic will retry, try again to rearm at 6, okay? The first try is at 5 p.m., okay? But you, for example, you need to stay at office, okay? You see the alert, okay? In 2 minutes start, you wait few time, okay? When start the exit time, it's possible, disarm the panel with your code, okay? And the system retry another time at 6 p.m., okay? Of course, you need to have, for example, okay, it's better that your code will be enabled at this hour, okay? Okay, because if, for example, your code is at this hour is disabled, okay, and for example, at this hour is enabled, okay, you can work here, okay? In this case, when start the panel, when start the arming from panel at this hour, you can disarm, okay, for stay 1 hour more. But when start at 6 p.m., you cannot disable the timer. In this case, you must go out. In this case, you can stay 1 hour more, okay, because your code is enabled. In this case, your code is disabled and you cannot disarm. Okay, this is the timer. Okay, now we will continue. Okay. Okay. Moment. Okay, stop. Okay. Now it's clear. Okay. After the training, if you have a question, we speak about the timer. Okay. Now I share again. Okay. And now I go in other parameters. Okay, this okay is this is a tab for our software is a particular tab because it's not a specific tab. Other parameters is a particular tab because there are the strange parameters. Okay, normally these parameters is not used or the default is okay. Okay, we start with tamper. Okay, system tamper. Okay, tab other parameters, tamper, system tamper. System tampers, okay, means the motherboard tamper. Okay, the protection of motherboard tamper. I mean the terminals of motherboard tamper. If you set it off, you can open the shape of the panel, okay, because the tamper will not trigger alarm, okay? This. Peripheral tamper. For the peripheral tamper, we mean 2 types. This is important because we mean 2 types of tamper. One tamper is the single protection of the peripheral. I mean, the mini switch direct, for example, in input-output expansion, okay, or in wireless expansion. I mean, the little switch for protect the shape of the expansion. And is important another type of tamper, the tamper of the bus tamper. Okay, if you set in off, okay, you shut off all type of tamper of peripheric, okay, and the tamper for manipulation of the bus. The panel will show that the connection is lost, okay, the connection problem, but not triggering alarm. For example, you need to change, for example, one expansion of input because it's broken. For example, you can disable this tamper and this tamper, and you can work without siren. Okay, the panel will show the problem of connection because you are disconnecting, for example, the bus AD data, okay, but the siren will not trigger alarm, okay. This general tamper, okay, for motherboard tamper, and this peripheral tamper regarding all peripheral tamper, okay. This, okay, this regarding only the terminal AP terminal. AP terminal is a little terminal in a panel, okay. Another AP is auto protection. This is another tamper, okay, that you can use like you want. For example, for external siren, for external device. This is an external tamper for protect external device, okay. This is the possibility for enable or disable, okay, and this is possible to use like normally closed, or is possible to use one resistor in series. When we speak balanced, we speak with one resistor, with one key resistor, 1 kilo ohm resistor. Remember this, AP, tamper line AP, work with one resistor of the resistor, with the value of the resistor is 1 kilo ohm, 1K, okay? Another important thing is this maintenance, this parameter. This is very important because when you enable balance maintenance, okay, the panel go in maintenance. What does it mean? When the panel is maintenance, all tamper not work, okay? All tamper stop work. The system calling, the calls for monitoring station, the calls for final user, the SMS, all communication, okay, are stopped, okay? And this maintenance normally is used for installer for work on panel without have alarm siren problem and communication and false communication problem with monitoring station or other. It's important to understand this. When the system is in maintenance, you can see in keypad, in LCD keypad, you can see written on keypad maintenance. This is important because if you leave the panel is maintenance, the panel will not trigger alarm and will not communicate with the monitoring station or another. Another important thing, all tamper are disabled. Okay. In the graphics keypad, it's possible to see the maintenance with the background of the keypad. The keypad, the touch keypad become red when the panel is in maintenance, for alert the user that there is the panel in maintenance. Okay. This is a quick arm. This is another particular parameters because normally receive many calls about this, because there is a little trick that is important to know. Okay, when you decide to enable quick arm, okay, quick arm normally means that quick arm is possible to press direct the group in a keypad and the system will start without use the code, okay? But often I received calls that told me this. I use quick arm, but now I cannot disarm the panel. Or I mean, I can, for example, disarm only area 1, but remain armed, for example, area 2, 3, 4. Why this? This is very important. When you enable quick arming, okay, is important, okay, to go in the user menu, okay? Now I show you. It's important to go. Moment I find the user, okay. It's important to go in the user menu, okay, for this. The quick arm is normally we use the last user setting. Now, if you set quick arm, okay, this is this user, okay. For example, now is not configured, but is important. If you leave in this way, the quick arm not work, okay? I need to, for example, set, for example, it's possible master, or it's possible user, normal arming and disarming user is the same. It's not important, okay? Is important to set this, okay, and it's important to have this. Normally, in the panel, in default, the quick arm in default is all enabled, okay? Why I tell you this? Because normally in default is all armed, but if you program, for example, the user number 1, like a master, okay, and for example, your system work only with the 2 areas, work with only 2 groups. In this case, the user work with this, okay? But in default, there is this all enabled. The problem will be this. When you push quick arm, the system arm all 4 areas, okay, with the group that you are selected, okay? But when you set the code for disarm, the problem is that you will disarm this area, but these 2 areas, 3 and 4, will remain armed. Now, it's important when you set the quick arm, is important go in user and decide which area and the group enable for quick arm, okay? Only this. For example, it's possible to set here another code for security, okay? In this way, you are sure that in arming, it's possible to use a quick arm without code, but for disarming, it's possible to use the code, okay? Okay, I return in other parameter, okay? Now this is finished. Now I go in the siren. Other parameter, siren tab, okay? Now, siren duration. This is 40, in default is 45-second duration, okay? Siren cycles, okay? This, the siren cycle is used not in all places, okay? For example, here in Italy is used. I want to show how it works, okay? The cycle is the possibility to count how many times the siren can go in alarm per day for each day. In this case, the siren can sound only 2 times per day for a time for 45-second time. I mean, if, for example, if today the system go in alarm, can go sound only for 2 times, okay? If the system go in alarm for the 3rd time, the system will send the calls, will send the message to monitoring station. The system send all, but the siren not work. Okay, this in many places, for example, in Italy and in different regions, it's possible to have, for example, 3 times max per day. Okay, this system, okay, will automatic reset at midnight of the day. Okay, for example, these 3 cycle, I mean, will work today from 12 to 12, okay, for 24 hours. Okay, if you set this to 0, okay, you will not the cycles. The siren will work always. When the panel go in alarm, the siren work. Okay. In this way, you will not have the restriction about cycle of the siren. Okay, it's possible to set here, or for example, it's possible to set 5 times per day. Okay, for not to disturb the person. Okay. Okay. This, another important thing is that this is a pause between 2 alarms. I mean, for example, one zone remain open, okay? For example, one zone, one contact, you close, for example, not well the one windows, okay? Arrive the windows and open the windows, okay? The contact remain open, okay? The siren starts to sound for 45 seconds, okay? After 45 seconds, okay, remain in pause for 15 seconds, okay? And after 50 seconds, restart to sound for 45 seconds, okay? This cycle will work for 5 times, okay? At fifth time, okay, the system stop work the siren. Of course, the siren stop work, okay? The system continues to work, to send the messages, to send all, okay? If you set in this way, okay, the siren will work always without cycle counting, okay? But of course, you can set another cycle direct into the zone. For example, if I go in the zone and I go here, okay, you can select, okay, exclusion cycle, okay, in this case is 3. For example, if we return in our example of the windows, that the windows is closed bed and the contact remain open, it's possible, for example, is the zone number 3, okay, after 3 times, okay, the zone will be excluded in automatic, okay, and the system will stop. Anyway, you can use this, or you can use this, or together, okay? Normally, you need to know that siren cycle regarding the day. Start at midnight and finish at midnight, regarding 1 day. After 1 day, the system reset in automatic, okay? Now,
David, when the siren goes off, how long will it go off? 10 minutes, 15 minutes, how long will it go off one time?
The siren, you mean the duration of the siren?
Yes, duration of the siren, yes.
Exactly, is this parameter.
45 seconds.
The default is 45, but you can modify. For example, if you need, for example, 1 minute, okay, you can set, for example, 1 minute, or like you want. Understand what I mean?
Because in England, it's generally it goes for 15 minutes.
Ah, wow. Ah,
yeah,
okay. Yeah. You can set. The problem is showing seconds. Okay.
Okay.
But you can. Yeah.
Can we? What is the maximum length here in the siren's duration? What is the maximum length here? What is the?
I'm 240 seconds.
Which is
4
minutes.
Exactly.
4 minutes.
Exactly.
Okay.
24. Yes, 4 minutes. Yes.
4 minutes. Okay.
Okay. Now, This is a very easy. This is a very easy parameter. This is only if you want that the keypad follow the siren when the system go in alarm. In this case, the keypad show the alarm without a buzzer. Okay. In this case, the buzzer of keypad, okay, will sound in the same rules that that are set here. Okay, is only this. This is only enable or disable the sound in the keypad, the buzzer. Okay. This is a squawk, the squawk function. I mean, the squawk function is only when you, for example, use the remote, the key fob. Okay, you use the key fob, you arm your panel, and you want to listen a little width, a little sound for arming and disarm. Okay, it's possible to have two type of squawk. Local means that means if you arm with the tag reader, with the keypad, you listen the sound in the local. The remote means is the same function, but work with the app, with the key fob. Remote, we mean when you are in a distance, you are not in front of a keypad. Here, this mean normally remote key fob or app. Okay. It's important this squawk regarding the wired siren, okay? And we put this little parameter, okay, work in millisecond. Why this? Because normally this is important to set, okay, is important for wired siren because not all siren start immediately when receive the command. Okay, normally some siren are very fast. For example, in 200 millisecond start. Other siren, for example, need 500 milliseconds for the squawk. Okay, this parameter regarding the possibility to set up the delay, the reactivity of the trigger terminal of the single siren. Okay, this parameter is the same of the squawk, but regarding the wireless siren. In this case, this is not necessary, and these are not necessary because here is possible to set, because it's wireless, is totally different, is automatic, it's possible to have arm or disarm visual. Visual, we mean only for the flash, okay? The flash, for example, 3 short flash, 1, 2, 3, means that the system is armed. 1 long flash, okay, means that the system is disarmed, okay? Or you can set flash and sound, beep, 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 for example, beep, 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 and beep when is disarmed, okay? Or if you need, it's possible to disable the flash and use only the sounder, okay? Or together, okay? This is an alarm memory of the siren, of the wireless siren, okay? The alarm memory, how it works? In this way, it's very easy, okay? The system go in alarm and you are not in the place, okay? The system stop the siren, okay? When you return at home and you disarm, for example, with the key fob, when you disarm, the system show the status, okay? After the status, start a little sound like this, a little sound of alarm sound, okay? But with a low volume, okay? That alert you that was an alarm, okay? Is a alarm memory, okay?
And David, all these what you're saying, visual, sound, and alarm memory, where are these noises coming from? From the siren outside, or is it from the keypad inside?
The key, this regarding only the siren outside. The keypad normally, show that was an alarm.
Okay.
Okay, now we continue.
But will it not, if we put it anything like sound or visual, will it not take the battery? So that means the battery will be running low sooner.
Exactly. Yes, yes, it's very important this. Exactly, exactly. Now, the wireless siren is possible to work with only with battery, or it's possible to use battery and external power external power supply. Of course, that is important this. If you use only the battery, of course, if you use all three enable, the life of battery reduce. Okay, it's very important this. Now, it's important to understand that when these are enabled, if the final user, for example, arm and disarm the system only 2 times per day, is not a big problem for the battery, okay? But if this person continues arm disarm because continue to go out and return, go out and return, it's better to, for example, use only for the same, for example, only the visual, okay? Because the visual keep the consumption of the visual is low because are used the LED, okay, and not work with the sound, okay, and is better for the alarm memory. Is not very important because for fortune, of course, the alarm are not happen every day, okay. Yeah. This is important. Of course, if you power the wireless siren with, for example, 9 volt or 12 volt, the problem there is not. It's important this. These are important for the life of the siren. But another important thing for the life of the siren is the number of the alarm per day, okay? Because normally the siren, when is in standby, the consumption is in order of microamps. Normally we are around from 7 to 10 microamps, okay? When the system go in alarm, we speak about milliamps. The difference is big. We speak about 150, 200 milliamps when the siren sound. Okay, this is important. The big problem of the life of the battery is not only this type of the signal, okay, but is important the number of the alarm per day, okay, normally this. But for our experience, the battery of the siren work fine. If you use, for example, this signal, okay, but you you use 2 times per day, for me the life go over 2-3 years without problem, okay. It's important to understand how many times go in alarm, okay. For example, if you have a customer that wanted to test the sounder every week, of course the life of the siren is very low, okay, is short, okay. Okay, we continue, okay. Now I go in other parameters and rules 5131. This regarding the approval, the yen approval, okay? The yen approval, okay? If this is a very important parameter. When you enable this, if you decide to enable, it's important to understand, set the caution, because this is a important parameter, okay? If you set in on, okay, all programming of panel, okay, change for follow the yen approval. The yen approval are very hard for the security. Now I explain, okay? If you set this, now I want to show you, moment, I go to check, okay, okay. When you set this, okay, in automatic, you will have this. The first changement is the panel will show the system status only for 30 seconds, okay? After 30 seconds, you cannot see if the panel is armed or disarmed in keypad, because the system stopped to show this. The system, when this rules is on, okay, stop to show the events direct in the keypad. For show the events, you must set your code, okay, because you cannot see on the LHD the events. Another important thing, you cannot see the not ready zones. The system stop to show the open zone, okay? In synthesis, the keypad stopped to show the status of the system. All LED shut off, okay? And the person cannot see if the system is armed, not armed. For see all information, need to use a enable code, okay? Okay. All self-exclusion follow 5 exclusion, okay? Not follow the standard parameter, but follow this parameter, okay? The state stop, the zone stop, okay? And another important thing, no voltage, okay, time, okay? It show immediately when the main power missing, okay, the system immediately show the main power and immediately send the message that the main power it stop, okay? The battery go in slow because it's important charge the battery with slow for the time, okay? After I speak about the battery charge, okay? Another important thing is that when this is armed, okay, this tab, okay, all checked, okay? This is arming lock. I mean, when the missing power, you cannot arm the system. When the battery is low, you cannot arm the system. When the GSM signal, okay, is missing, you cannot arm. When the problem of PSTN line, you cannot arm. These are all restriction of the arming. Okay, this is important. Why this? Because when you enable the rules, okay, these automatic are enabled. Now it's important that we show all these parameters, because if you want, you can enable this, okay? Another important thing, okay, another important thing is that all zone, all inputs, okay, all inputs in the time here, okay, in the type, when you select this, all inputs here, okay, sorry, so a moment, okay, inputs here in the type, okay, moment, I want to show all zone become in double balance, okay, with this value, okay, all zone, all this zone, okay, all this zone, okay, become all in all this value, okay, all this. Okay, now I return in the other parameters, okay. Now, it's possible to, for example, enable this, but if you want the state, only the state, it's possible uncheck this, and the system is follow the rules, but it's possible to disable the show the state. I mean, the system show always the status of the panel. If the panel is armed, you will see always the panel armed. With this in on, you will see the panel armed only for the first 30 seconds, okay? For example, another parameter is that if you uncheck this, you will see the zone not ready. With this in on, you will not see the zone not ready. You need to use the code for see the zone not ready, okay? Here, it's possible to delay, for example, the 1 minute, the delay, I mean, if the power, for example, missing, the main power missing, it's possible to have 1 minute of delay for sending the message, okay? Because, why this? For example, because if the main power go missing for 10 seconds, it's not necessary send the message of the main power go down, okay? But if you can modify like you want anyway, okay? This is another important parameter, okay? Normally it's better to leave slow. Slow, what does it mean? This is the system for recharge the backup battery of the panel. In this way, the system is automatic system recharger. I mean, if the battery is very, very slow, okay, the system give a good current for recharge, but when the level of the battery increase, okay, automatically the panel decrease the current. In this way, you prevent it's good for the life of the battery, okay? Because if you charge the battery with the right current, the life of the battery is long, okay? If you use the fast, okay, normally the system charge the battery with a big current, okay, without automatic regulation. Start immediately with the big current, okay? This is good for a fast recharge in case, for example, you install the panel in a place where missing the power. Is better, for example, use the fast if every day the main power go down, okay, for maintain the battery always with high level, okay. But the problem is that with the fast charger, the life of a battery will be reduced, okay. Okay, normally it's better to use slow if you do not need particular situation, okay?
David, quick question. What is the life of the panel battery?
Normally, the life battery depends on the quality of the battery. For example, but if you use, for example, Yuasa, that Yuasa is a important brand for me. Minimum 5 years minimum the battery work fine. Minimum.
Okay.
Minimum. Yeah. Yes.
Minimum 5 years.
Yeah,
and another thing I need to ask you, quick
of
question
course,
is, yeah.
Of course, that I joke with this argument with my customer here in Italy for the battery. No, for check if the battery is a good battery. Okay, is better to put in. Is better to check the weight. Okay, if the battery is very hard weight, okay, the battery is good. If the weight is lightly, okay, the battery normally is not good. Okay.
Okay. Okay, and another thing is, you said about this where it says 230-volt time. So if let's say we said 2 minutes and the customer gets the notification that there was a power failure, does customer have to put the code to reset it, or will it automatically reset it?
No, automatically. No
okay.
Problem. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Okay, okay, this is important. Okay, this live test hour. Now I show you. This is internal interval days and hour. Okay, and this is a live test. Live test is now I needed to show you when you go in Contact ID, for example. Okay, you go, for example, in events. Okay, there is live test. Okay, I want to show you searching moment. Okay, live test here. Okay, this parameter. Okay, This, for example, is live test parameter, okay? Here, normally, okay, is better, for example, okay, in this way, okay, you have one live test, okay, is not ping, this is a live test. Ping, like I told you in the last webinar, the ping is the continuous transmitting for connection with the internet or something, EP connection for the monitoring station. This is a live test. Is only one message that is possible to send one time per day, for example, okay? It's possible to set, for example, 1 day, okay? But it's possible to set the hour. For example, it's possible to set in the night for example, at 4 in the night. Here it's possible to set the minutes. Normally, with this setup, for example, every day at 4 in the night, okay, the system will send this type of event, live test, to the monitoring station, okay? Is that, for example, if you need to send, for example, it's important to understand this. If this parameter is not set, 0 or 0, okay, is not important. Why this? Because the live test, when you go in Contact ID, okay, in default, without setting, the live test will start every 24 hours, okay? But in this case, with this not set, okay, when you set here, okay, when I set here, the system start to send in this moment, and every day, every 24 hours, the system send this, okay? This is important. Only,
David,
example,
what is live test? What did send signal? What is live test?
Test is a standard monitoring station signal. I mean, normally is this event 602. Okay, is not ping. Honestly, is not most used this type of live test, because now with the IP communication, normally all monitoring station prefer the ping, okay? Yeah. Because the ping is faster and work, for example, every 3 minutes, okay? In the past, they ask this. This is a live test, okay, that you can send 1 time per day, okay, for example, in this way. Okay. Now, honestly, is not most used. Now,
does it mean that live test means to check the phone line then?
Exactly. You can send a little message, SMS message. Yeah. You can decide which vector send this message. Okay. In the past was used. Now, honestly, with the app, with the ping, etc., is not used. Okay. Okay. Now wireless. Okay. This is we put here the wireless and not in the wireless for one reasons, because normally this type of parameters normally is not is better not touch. Okay, why this? For one reason. This is important. Only we use for enroll for this parameter is used for self-learning method of enroll the device, the wireless device. If you use, like in default, this, okay, you use the specific signal for enroll. I mean, the little red button, the little jumper, okay. If you modify this and you select this, the system will enroll with any signal, okay? For example, with the tamper signal, with the alarm signal, okay? But the problem is that if you select this, you risk, if you use the self-enroll, you risk that enter one device that you don't need in that moment that need enrolled. Okay, in this way, it's possible, for example, put on the table all sensor, put all batteries, okay, that you are sure not start the enroll. Understand what I mean? Not start and enroll. You have all sensor in your table or powered, okay, but the system not start to enroll. When you push the red button, okay, the system start to enroll. In this way, you can set one specific order to enroll the devices, okay? In this case, when you put the battery, the system start to enroll the system, okay? Because is an auto one signal from the device that the system enroll, okay? Normally, it's better use the specific button for enroll, okay? This parameter is that, okay? And these two parameters is important because noise radio is only the alert that in the particular place there is a big traffic of the radio signal, okay? But it's not danger, okay? It's not danger because the system will continue to work without problem. This is important because this is a saturation radio alert. What I mean? The saturation radio means that the system will trigger in alarm like a tamper, okay, when there is a big signal that stop the communication of wireless signal for 30 seconds. If our system cannot communicate with each other, I mean device, receiver, the panel, okay, for 30 seconds, okay, the system triggering alarm like a tamper, okay? If you disable this, the problem may happen that the system stop to work without alert, okay? This is better to have enabled, okay? This is possible, for example, disable because it's not a big problem because this signaling only the traffic, the radio traffic, okay? This, and you can, if you want, you can disable, okay? This is important, it's better to leave enabled, okay? Because if the panel cannot communicate with the other devices, the system triggering alarm like a tamper. This is very important, okay? The last parameter is that, okay, data time is very easy, okay? This is possible to send to the panel the current hour, okay?
David, how long does it take to charge the panel battery when we install the new system, and how long will it take for the battery to charge?
When you use the standard low, okay, normally in 2 or 3 hours the battery is okay.
And if it doesn't charge, then what does it mean? Does it mean the battery is not good?
Immediately the system show you that there is the problem of the battery. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is a special detector. Another important thing. This is a good question because I want to tell you another important thing. If you use, for example, a voltmeter for check if there is the power recharge in the terminal of panel, okay, you will not measure, okay, because the system charge of our panel work in a PWM. I mean, if there is the battery, the panel start to charge. If you disconnect the terminal of the battery, the panel stop to send the voltage in the terminals, okay? This is good for this reason, because if you mistake the polarity of the battery, for example, you mistake and you put the minus with the plus, etc., you will not damage the system, okay? The system will not damage, only stop, give current in the terminals, okay? And immediately appear the problem in keypad, the battery. But is important this, the panel is not broken, is not damaged, you will not have damage if you mistake the polarity of the terminal of the battery. Okay, it's important this. If you
But
need,
David, I have what it is with my systems, I'm getting a lot of problem with the batteries. So I replaced one of the system which is in my house. I've replaced 3 times batteries, and every time it comes up as a battery fault.
wow, you need to check this if happen at your home. Use because the system charge work with the pulses, not with the stable power, and it's not easy to measure the system charge. Okay, for detect, non sento un cazzo. Lo so, scusami, cioè vai di là se devi tossire. Sorry. Is important this. If you try this, set the multimeter in amps, okay, and put in serial, okay, in one pole of the battery. For example, put in a serial in a positive pole, okay, in amperes, okay, in milliamps. And if the battery is okay, if you don't have alert from keypad, try to measure the current, okay?
Yeah.
And let me know, send me a mail with the result. Normally, if the system go okay, you will see few hundred milliamps. For standard, you will see 100 from 100 to 300 milliamps for standard charge. Okay, not more. Okay, try to check this for this. Okay. Okay. Returning the last data time parameter. Okay. Here there is only the setting of the hour of the panel. Okay. This parameter is used for automatic change summertime. This is automatic summertime. In the panel, there is an internal parameter, and if you enable, okay, when arrive the summer, at I don't remember the last week of the March, if I don't mistake, the system automatic will change the hour 1 hour. The standard automatic change. Okay, not in all country is used this. Okay, now I stop to share. Okay, we will finish. Okay, the description of other parameters and the timers. Okay.
David, and
share moment. Okay.